This is Dragon Veils. I hope y'all are doing well. Welcome back to my channel, and we are going to go over the fall of the Vees in terms of power and then their redemption. I know this is a really tall order to say the least, but if you think about it, I wouldn't say that the possibility for redemption is totally off the table, especially with what Viv said in terms of her plans for Vox. So it got me thinking of what other possibilities can happen with the V's and how they could be without their powers. I'm going to discuss about their fall, as well as what could happen going down the lines in seasons 3 and 4. So, without further ado, and beware of spoilers, let's begin!
That's right, baby! Redemption got you snoring? That scene was fucking boring! Have you considered a vocation that is more rewarding?
Best to kick off with Vox because he's already gotten his fall of power and his fall from grace. One of the things I will say about this is, as far as we can tell, he's at the lowest point, and Viv said in one interview that she has a lot more plans for him. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he does get redeemed later on. And there's been a lot of visual hints throughout season 1 and 2 that does give us an idea that he can be redeemed, even though we may not realize it yet. One in particular I noticed is just the swapping of background color between Alistair and Vox. Now, traditionally, the red represents the hotel in general because it's always seen in that hotel. It's always the color scheme. Now, with Vox, his color is blue because it's his signature color. Ironically enough, we get to see that these two begin to swap colors. In Stayed Gone, you definitely see of how Alistair waltzes to the blue background, while Vox suddenly finds himself in the red. Then you get to see that there have been a lot of halos and sly halo representation in seasons 1 and 2. Namely, you get to see in one image in Weapons of Mass Distraction where he has a supposed halo above his head. So it does give an idea that somewhere along the way he's slowly but surely going to get redeemed. Now, what could be a possible concept of him going towards redemption? Well, I feel like with Valentino taking charge of everything and pushing him to the sidelines, I have a horrible feeling we're going to see Valentino at his cruelest, where up to the breaking point Fox has enough of Val's cruelty being at the blunt end of it, and finally being vulnerable for once. He might run into Charlie, finally no longer hiding his persona and his true feelings leak out. Remember what he said before in the first episode in season 2?
Look weak to other overlords or to sinners? We are above petty bullshit.
Well, maybe.
This is where he might have some similarity to Serpentius, where with Serpentius, he was at his breaking point, where he was just ready to give it all up after the fiasco in episode 2, season 1. However, with Vox, a lot of people have pointed out that he might do some very serious self-harm, something where even Charlie will have a hard time ignoring. I mean, true, Charlie's a softie, but I'm pretty sure after what happened with her dad and everything that happened in season 2, I find it understandable where she's finally going to show some character development and actually feel standoffish about letting Vox into the hotel. But upon seeing his breaking point, this is where her empathy would definitely kick in and allow Vox to actually let himself be more vulnerable by the end of the day. Upon seeing this, he might be able to actually understand that he doesn't need to be someone else to get other people's approval. He just needs to be himself. And that's a very hard lesson that I'm pretty sure Vox is going to go through because a lot of people, including me, have noticed of how he dresses up in similar characters. So it does feel like this could mean he might slowly eventually stop mimicking other people and come up with his own identity towards the end of the series.
I'm not the one who needs a new attitude. Maybe you missed it. But I'm that hashtag bitch, and I will do nothing less than what I please. Woo! I'm the backbone of the Vees.
Now, as the saying goes, actions have consequences, and sometimes those actions come back to you like a boomerang, which I'm pretty sure is going to help into Velvet, as we see here.
Sick of you cause they've seen way too much, but we'll still get the clicks from souls who hate you.
This definitely feels like a foreshadowing from what I can gather in that scene alone, where for a while, Velvet is very popular and everyone worships her as a social media demon. But part of it is also because Vox helps tone down her brash and arrogant attitude, which I'm pretty sure is going to eventually come back to bite her, especially when people are going to throw comments in the websites about how she was part of the fiasco in season 2, as well as being part of those lies, which I'm pretty sure is what's going to happen eventually. And what could make her possibly redeemable at this point? Well, she isn't exactly so ambitious that she's willing to risk everyone, considering the fact that she helped step in Hereby Hope. But yeah, at the same time, it is pretty clear that once she interacts more with Charlie, she might find herself opening up to her and maybe start seeing another side to Charlie that she hadn't before. And I have a feeling the I have not struck Velvet comment that Charlie had said in season 2, episode 4, It's a Deal. I have a feeling that's going to come back full circle. Velvet, being so opinionated, will probably say something that will really set Charlie off, either about her dad or worse, her mom. And this is where Charlie will finally blow a gasket. And mind you, she isn't exactly the type to blow up that easily or abuse her powers. So if she's trying to get goaded by Velvet, that would definitely create more chaos as the result. But that will put a backlash on Velvet because not only was she openly insulting the Princess of Hell, who has actually proven that redemption is possible and had shown that she's willing to risk everything for the sinners in the result of it all, she would definitely find herself in a very exploitative position. And so, after a possible internet fiasco, she will also be in a very vulnerable position like that of Vox, where everyone now hates her because of either her opinions or because she does something that really crosses the line. And the only thing that's very compassionate about her is the fact that she does care about her friends to a certain degree, even if she doesn't exactly get along with them so well. Her ultimate redemption would be her actually stop being so snarky and cruel to everyone who is not associated with her friend group.
Hey! Get your hands off my property.
Oh boy. Time to address the elephant in the room, or I should say, the Mothman in the room. So, with Valentino, I know a lot of people are seriously reserved on this one, and so am I. But one thing that shows a slight hint at his possible redemption is when you notice that at least twice he's sitting in a chair that has butterfly shaped wings, and they're almost in a similar pattern to his own moth wings. So I feel like this could hint at a possible winner form for him. But how is that going to be possible? Well, if Vox's fall was practically the most difficult, I'm pretty sure his is going to be harder, if not more. Valentino is hot tempered, and with Vox being in charge of everything, it's pretty clear that there's no one or nothing that could actually stop him from going on a deadly rampage if he so chooses, even going as far as to the hotel to actually shoot some people up because he can, which is part of the reason why Angel had to go with him in the first place. But considering the fact that his temperament, like Val, would definitely backtrack on him. I mean, since he's not filtered, he'll probably do things that people are finally gonna get fed up with. I mean, they tolerated this long because Vox put him in check, but now that he's, again, doing it over and over, even the other overlords are going to get fed up with this behavior. And eventually, Angel will finally stand up to him. That portion, I don't know fully how, but I'm pretty sure not only through words, but Angel will probably physically stand up against Valentino and put him in his place by physically beating him up, which I hope we get to see in season 3. And then, just when Angel is ready to shoot him, he'll probably lower his gun and to give Valentino the hardest speech he's ever heard of how he's incapable of loving anyone but himself, of how he doesn't seem to see any value in other people, or something that will really hit a nerve in Valentino, mostly if it involves Vox, because we definitely seen that even when Vox says something about their relationship being nothing but business, this upsets Valentino. And considering that he'll be a focus in season 3, it's a fair bet that we're going to learn more about his past and what led him into this set behavior. It's not going to get justified, but we can definitely see of where his behavior originates, especially if he might have a fear of fire. The reason why I say that is because someone in YouTube made a mention of how he possibly could have been an artist that died in a fire, which in some ways could make sense considering of how he acts around fire in general. When Charlie actually set fire to his studio, he immediately stopped the flames with a single flap of his wings. And when Angel presented him a birthday cake with candles on it, he immediately smashed the cake with Angel's face on it, which is probably the tamest thing, though painful, that has ever been done. It doesn't change the fact that this could also hint that he'll reach a certain vulnerability where he's surrounded by fire, but there's no one to help him, reliving through the possible trauma he's gone through and reaching to a certain point where even Charlie's gonna have some reserves for it. I think out of all the redemptions, his would be the most difficult and probably the most interesting, because this definitely gives a sense of relapse to his character when there is some growth that is needed as well. So what do you think? Who do you think is most likely going to get redeemed, and how would it be done? Put your opinions into the comments. Do a like and subscribe. This is Dragon Vees signing off.